Okay. Thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here. And my presentation today will focus on creating self-paced learning materials. My outline might look a little long, but I'll skip the first parts fast. In the first part, I'm going to talk about my course design, the teaching context, reverse design approach, flipped teaching, and hosting asynchronous materials. In the second part, I'm going to talk about developing asynchronous learning materials with AI, and I actually use AI quite a bit, so I'm going to talk about various tools today. Firstly, I'll talk about the Canva, which you might have used before for poster making, but now they have the AI tool that I find very useful. And then I'll talk about QChat, which is also part of a tool that we commonly use, Quizlet. Quizlet now have the AI tutor. And then I'll talk about something fun, song generators for vocab memorization, and then a video search engine called Youglish. You might have heard of it. It's not new, but it's also AI powered. And then I'm going to talk about creating audio content using AI voiceover generators and AI avatars for asynchronous grammar teaching, and finish with GPT tutor bots. I'm the last person, so bear with me. So my teaching context is the first year Turkish course. It's 2 semesters. The first semester is 15 weeks. It's every day for 15 minutes. Second semester is 13 weeks, again, 5 days and 15 minutes every day. So it's a lot of teaching. My approach to teaching and material design is reverse design. You might have heard of it as backwards design. So I started with the domain analysis. It's a somewhat larger framework for needs analysis. And then I established the proficiency goals and learning objectives. Then I designed my assessment and determined the suitable pedagogy and content, and then started the material development part. So material development comes at the end. That's why in the traditional design, we start with the textbook with material and then design all the rest. So this means that I don't have a textbook. I created all of the materials myself. That's why I used so much AI tools. So for this approach, I decided that flipped learning will be a good design. I think many of you would know flipped learning. It's self-paced learning. The instructor facilitates the asynchronous learning, allowing students to progress through specific course materials at their own pace. And we have the class for more active learning. Students are focused on practicing context, interpersonal interaction, and fostering deeper understanding of the material. For several years, I was hesitant on the flipped course design, but I learned about this design cycle in one of the workshops at the University of Chicago. They haven't published this work yet, but they have this design that is special for language teaching. Usually, when I think about flipped design, I would think it's like a large lecture, a professor records their lecture, and students watch and come to class, whereas this one, there is the pre-face-to-face part, face-to-face, and then post-face-to-face for every single class. In the pre-face-to-face, the instructor introduces the content and prepares students for learning and being active in class. Face-to-face part is being active and integrating what has been learned before, and post-face-to-face is expanding the knowledge and learning grammar in my case. So I decided to focus on the receptive skills in the pre-face-to-face part. So I focus on reading, listening, and especially vocabulary. And in the face-to-face part, I focus on all skills with special focus on speaking. And post-face-to-face is more focused on productive skills and grammar. So one of the crucial part of that material development process was finding the right platform to host these materials. I considered several options, hard copy or digital textbook. I think a lot of people use a textbook for flipping their course. I use it for teaching as well, for my asynchronous teaching, because it offers a variety of question types, the new quiz. As you see here, there are so many question types. It allows being very flexible with scheduling. In my institution, our students are extremely busy. They have this thing, that thing, so being flexible with scheduling is really helpful. And it grades some of the work automatically. I don't have to grade multiple choice or matching or fill in the blanks. It does it. And students use it all the time since it's our LMS on campus, and I can easily monitor what they're available, and it allows reattempting. Students, I allow them to take it twice so that they can correct their mistakes, errors. The only downside of Canvas quiz was the scheduling of the assignments, because a lot of quizzes that I needed to create. So I got some help from AI, a schedule assistant called Schedule Creator. I put my prompts there, and it created this assignment schedule for me, and I asked my TA to help me with this. So I gave the assignment schedule to her, and she managed to open all of these quizzes for me. So once I have the quizzes, I started the material development work. So as I mentioned in the pre-face-to-face part, I focus on the receptive skills. For listening, I have different types of materials: human-created materials, AI-generated materials, and authentic materials. The human-created audio materials are great. They have natural expression, but hiring people can be difficult and costly, and it requires a recording studio, microphones, all of that. So that was expensive, so I kept it for medium length or long dialogues. For shorter lists or dialogues, I used AI-generated audio materials. You don't need anything, you just need your laptop. There is no background noise. It's always available. You can create materials midnight. And it's relatively cost-effective. It's not super cheap, but it's cheaper than hiring people. And currently for Turkish, it's not as natural as human speech, but every year it's getting better. I started using it almost 2 years ago. And for Turkish and maybe some other less commonly taught languages, there may not be sufficient variety of voice actors. For Turkish, we have only 2 speakers. Like if I want to create a dialogue, then only 2 people can speak because there are only 2 voice actors. So I decided to clone my own voice so that there's a 3rd speaker. So I cloned my voice, and I created this screencast video to show you how to create an audio, AI-generated audio. Let's see how my cloned English voice sounds.
Create a new voiceover project. Copy and paste the text you've prepared for the project.
I think it's my laptop. Yeah, just give us 1 second. Sorry, I think it was my laptop.
Click on the new button to create a new voiceover project. Copy and paste the text you've prepared for the project. You have the flexibility.
Can you go to sound?
Yeah.
Do you have a Mac, right?
Yeah.
Where is settings?
Settings.
Oh, there they are.
Mm-hmm. Find audio.
Sound. I can't see anything. I'm blind here. Sound, output,
HDMI.
HDMI. Okay, let's try it again.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, I'm collecting them all. If you
Yeah, anyways, my point was it's possible to clone your voice, and it worked pretty okay in my case. I know some people might have hesitations about cloning their voice, but I didn't have that hesitation, so I did it, and it worked. Last year it didn't work for Turkish. This year it does. So it's getting better every day. For authentic materials, I use ads, songs, podcasts, clips from films and series, and there is this tool called Youglish. It's a video search engine. It lets you search certain words or sentences in YouTube, and it's available for almost all of the languages. I found a lot of short clips using this tool and use these clips in my course. They also have an app. I have the app. I find the app easier to use. So once you have the app or the website, you select your language, search the term, and browse the results and refine your search. As in ChatGPT, this tool also requires good prompt using. Depending on your prompt, you might get the result you want or not. So, the other thing, a skill that I was focusing on in the pre-face-to-face part is vocab. And for vocabulary, I used to create a lot of flashcards or posters using Canva. Now Canva has this AI-powered tool called Magic Studio. It lets you edit and erase or remove the background. It lets you do a lot of things to an image. And you can also create your own image like DALL-E or the other text-to-image. It's nice to have all of that in one place. So you pay just once and get to use all of these tools. Like my colleague showed before, I also got students to write a short descriptive text, and they generated these images based on their text, and they really enjoyed ChatGPT understanding their Turkish and creating these images. And this was on Canva. Another fun tool is song generators. There are many options, but I tried this one. What you do is you give it the lyrics that your students created and select the genre, like rap or pop or whichever genre, and it creates a song. Students really enjoyed it. It's a fun activity to memorize vocab. And for writing, I used the QChat, this here. It's the new addition to Quizlet. It started last year, I think. It's their AI tutor. So on the right, you see the different options like teach me, practice, and other options. I asked students to practice with sentences based on a set that I created for them. So this was a post-class activity. I taught the vocab first, and they saw it in context in class, and afterwards they practiced creating these sentences. However, with Quizlet, they need to pay to use this tool for longer than 10 minutes, I think. So we are experimenting creating our own bots. This is the one for Turkish. Our colleague in the Italian department, Michael, helped us create these bots for our courses. So starting from next year, instead of the Quizlet's bot, I'm planning to use our own custom bot. For grammar, I stopped teaching grammar in class. And I do it after my class session. My approach to it is first introducing the grammar point in context in class as part of a task. And then I guide students to understand what that new grammar point is. And then after class, once they are engaged in this and they are curious what this thing means, I provide the explanations in the post-class part and give them a lot of focus on form practices. And then when they come back to class next day, we do more production activities together. Before I tried not teaching grammar explicitly just by providing a lot of input, a lot of context, but students really want to have instruction. So I added that additional component at my post-class phase. In the first year, I just provided my here these notes. For this pilot video, I did a somewhat grammar point to see if it makes it any easier. So this is only a pilot. I haven't started using it. Let's see how it looks. Hopefully it will work this time. Oh.
Fish dinner.
Okay, let me just one more time show you. So this avatar presents the lecture with some notes that you can see on the screen.
If we can get out of presentational mode, maybe that might disconnect 10 minutes. Let's see if it works now.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a restart.
It's okay.
Issue. I've had
Yeah.
it before with all computers that are
Yeah.
different getting put in. We have to
Yeah.
restart.
Yeah. Yeah. So an idea what it looks like. So I am trying to teach grammar with AI avatars this year. I'm hoping that this multimodality will make it a little bit more interesting and more engaging. So my approach to it is first creating these grammar presentations based on the notes that I created in English. So I have a title and then the outline. I kept the outline optional because every second is expensive. So I'm trying to keep these videos short. They are quite expensive. You'll see how much it is in a second. I put the presenter notes, as you can see here below, so students don't see these. The avatar reads it for them. They just see whatever is on the screen, like a presentation. But yesterday, when I listened to our colleagues here, I thought maybe having captions might help with accessibility. And I present the certain points in bullet points, like not sentences. Students see just bullet points and hear the avatar. And it's possible to have two avatars speaking at the same time. Like in this video, we couldn't see it fully, but
In a moment.
no. At some point, two different avatars were, one was speaking in Turkish, the other one was speaking in English. So it's possible to have that. I really looked for that, and I realized it's possible. Yeah, so to finish your presentation, you can add summary or recap of what you want to teach, but I also made this optional because I want to keep it short. However, it might be helpful to have a recap of the presentation. And I did a lot of video adjustments. I thought where I should put this avatar, like in the middle or in a small circle at the right corner, left corner. I checked a lot of YouTube videos. So I'm still trying which one is most engaging and interesting. I also experimented with first starting in the middle, and then when there's more text on the screen, I take the avatar to the right corner. So it's possible to change the place. And the video length, I'm searching right now what length is the ideal for learners' interest. And how many avatars shall I have, and what animations shall I use? Shall I have a background music, or shall I have some interactive elements? These are some decisions that I'm still in the process of making. So this is the pricing. You can buy it yearly. So if you buy for 360 minutes, it's quite expensive for yearly. So I decided to take my outline out of the videos and only keep the very essential information. So ways for me are, I think institutions have their own content. Teach a small class, in-class, post-class was possible, but it really have a large class would be probably quite. Your flipped course is really important, and being consistent in assignment workload. Students really have they want to this course or change it, then they do it. Choosing the right asynchronous platform is really crucial. Quizzes worked quite well for me because if I happen to use the institution, I can my materials. That's also an important detail to think because we are investing a lot of time into creating all of this. Selecting the suitable AI tools is really exhausting. There are so many options out there, and it's not cheap, so it takes some time. But if they're enhancing the engagement and interaction, then it's worth it. We'll invest in it and we'll try it. And monitoring students' progress and giving them personal feedback really helps engaging them in asynchronous learning. If you just assign something and you don't know if they did it or not, there's a possibility that they won't. Such a project was a big time investment on my end, and buying some of these tools was some kind of investment for the institution as well. So having some budget and time is important, and being flexible and adaptable is also very crucial because based on learners' feedback, we're changing the ways we do certain things. Yes, that's all. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Meryem. We'll now open the floor for questions, the presenters.
Okay, I guess just following on what you just said, do you think the extra effort that you put into it now may save you some time and effort in future semesters?
Absolutely.
Or will the technology evolve so that you'll continually have to create new things?
Yeah, that's also a good point. Up until this question, I was hoping that from now on, I will use what I've created, but you're right, as the technology advances, we'll change certain things. But the nice thing with, let's say, with the avatar project or audio content is you can edit those things. It's not like the video a human creates. You can't edit any of that. But with the audio recordings or video recordings, it's possible to make changes. So it's been a lot of work. If you have a textbook that is good, stick to it, I would say. But at the same time, students get really excited, they really like it, enjoy it, and for me, seeing them speak in Turkish fast was really rewarding. So.
I was thinking of the pedagogical implications and the students' understanding of grammar. So basically, my question is: have you seen any differences between teaching grammar for you, teaching grammar before class and after class? Have you seen any difference in their understanding of the grammar or their use of the grammar?
Yes, absolutely. Teaching it afterwards really helps them understand it better because they actually already learn in class. But they have this feeling, oh, if I don't have the English explanations, I won't understand it. And they feel really comfortable after having that kind of explicit presentation of the grammar. But actually in class, without that kind of explicit teaching, with lots of input, with lots of context, they're able to learn it better. That was my starting point, but I realized that doesn't align with their beliefs, so I'm going to compromise and provide what makes them feel comfortable.
I have a logistical question. So you mentioned budget, right, several times. Are you paying up for these tools out of your pocket? Is there any institutional support? Because one of the things that I actually have very jealous, personal, selfish interest here, because we are trying to work on a departmental project, and because there are no policies in place, as he was talking about the concern of our policies. And so the person who's in charge of finances here didn't apply to asking for funds. Because they just don't know that they can, right? So I wonder if you're actually doing it with, because you're not doing this for just one course for yourself, right? You're doing this institutional, some kind of thing. You do something more than this.
Yes, so my approach was I started small. First I started with creating audio content with AI. And once I became a little visible on campus talking about AI, then I applied for a project at the Center for Learning and Teaching, Orgu Center for Learning and Teaching, and I got a grant for this project. So I think starting small and making yourself visible on campus and showing people you have interest and skill in this, and then slowly making your project larger and getting this kind of grant, it was my strategy.
Yeah, there were no bureaucratic hurdles in terms of you don't have a policy on AI use on campus, and therefore.
No, actually, my institution encourages us to be innovative and try these tools. And yeah, the grant I applied was specifically asking for an innovation in your teaching. So finding the right projects that you can apply if they're available on campus might be helpful because departments themselves may not always have enough budget. I could only get the budget from my department for just one of these tools. So I got this other funding from Orgu Center, and after that funding, they gave me more to improve these projects. So once you start and become visible, there is more support if the institution supports this vision.
So I think you all on the wicked. I think this is very revolutionary to the classroom. I've always been wanting to do that. So my question is, what are some of the next steps with this, especially with Chinese learning? I see the tones it's very hard for me to understand the words and tones. And I think the first data I was mentioned, you see as ChatGPT continues to add features like advanced voice, bringing that into the classroom, especially with the Kurdish, having them chat the basics, first vocabulary, first and then also after a session. But do you see yourself using advanced voice in China strategies to help out with retailing dialects of
Yes. Third year, I'm teaching third year class, students' tone are usually, their students still cannot pronounce the four tones. Standard Chinese have four tones. Unlike Cantonese, they have 6 or 9. It depends on how you contact. So there's only 4 like da 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 4 tones. So it's first year students. There are students who can learn the tones quickly in 2 weeks or 3 weeks and pronounce them accurately. There are some dialect speakers in heritage dialect speakers. If they took the third year as their first year of formal class instruction, then they need to practice the tones. Like some students say, I want to correct my tone. And one of the students in my class, she speaks Cantonese at home. So it's a totally different tonal system. So she has no tone, in standard Chinese class. So that's why she asked for tonal correction. She can definitely use the ChatGPT to make a conversation. How are you start from short sentence and practice. But it's very boring for her because she basically understands all, just the tone is not accurate. So she tried and she still prefer practice with the instructor. So we have TA, so she would like to have a meaningful conversation. TA correct her instantly. But ChatGPT won't say your tone is wrong. ChatGPT just keep flow. The conversation keeping it flow, and not saying this pronunciation is wrong, that is wrong. It's not like that. So it's short, so you can engage with the student with very short conversation. How are you? I'm fine. How about you? ChatGPT speak the tone correct, but students still speak it, differently. Yes, but student can hear she's not right, but it's just not. It needs her initiate to change her pronunciation. Try practice many times, and we also have TAs recording for all the words and all the sentences for students. So they have basically the file with them all the time, so they can practice that. It's just. Their level is there, so practicing tone is important.
I have a question. I can imagine that pronunciation in Chinese you have to reinforce that certain amount of practice every day, I suppose, right? Because the few things they say and I think we have another presentation for Chinese that was maybe huge concern of the other professor who said something about Chinese. Now, I so confused you in the picture, and I have a question. Students also, I can imagine they cannot bring confused Chinese, but
Wikipedia said Confucius has feature not to. So this is there's no like a student checked with the wiki said, oh, actually he has $2, one son, and a wife, like a family. So students originally thought that he was single, so never married. So Confucius, that's wiki said, but we don't have a proof from that. We became as Confucius 500 BC, right?
Yeah.
450 to 500 BC.
But when you read it, most of the things can apply now. Though I talked to some Chinese people a long time ago here in Villanova, and they said, no, that's very oriental.
No, still, because we have Confucius Institute, right? It's still very influential in China. Yeah, so we have a lot of Confucius Institute overseas. And Confucius doctrines still, influence Chinese. They said, Confucius had 3 children, right? And a person has 3 children will influence all these many people, right? In China. So until today, yeah. So I mean, of course his doctrine is, has been adopted by all the you say region, all these dynasties through Chinese history, from Han all the way to nowadays. So we still can have Confucianism. This is influential thought, most influential Confucius. And Taoism and Buddhism, so these are 3, influence each other. But Taoism from outside, Confucius Taoism within, but Taoism is kind of outside.
Yeah, and today you also read Li.
Oh, you mean the poet?
Yeah.
Yes.
How do you pronounce it? Li or
Li Bai.
Li Bai. They
That's,
did that too there in China.
Oh yes, these are Tang poetry are very popular among Chinese kids. So all can recite a number of Tang poems. And the student also, because sometimes we introduce at the end of the lesson, we also introduce a poem, either classical, which is Tang, song or lyrics, and also maybe modern lyrics.
So to present this chapter, they cannot still read it in Chinese, or you can present it to them and they read it in English or something like that?
Yeah, they don't read like the Analects of Confucius, right? That's written in classical Chinese. So, but we do have classical Chinese first year and second. So students will learn some classical Chinese in that.
No, I am asking you this because I consider the course should be extremely important to understand it.
Oh yes.
When you go. So
We're introducing them all these philosophers or thoughts or culture exposure to in modern standard Chinese.
yeah, because that way they can have an idea of how they may see or view the world or who they think in an account.
Yeah, that's how they view how Chinese people look at things this way. Why do they think this way when encounter certain problems, right? How do we approach? How do we solve this problem? How do you think in this situation? Yes, that's important for them to yes, we teach in modern Chinese.
And I try to make a comment about it when we talk about that you wanted to present the grammar inside a context with a given explanation, but the students always want rules. They always want rules.
Yes.
And that happens, yeah, it's the same thing with me. I began some years ago just posting the question and answering it, and that is not no explanation. But they feel much more comfortable with the rules of when to use a tense, etc. And the exact motivations and they take a lot of time. And I have to present it.
Yes, that's also what I figured. I still wanted to give it a try because I started with also explicit grammar teaching, and then with task-based approaches I wanted to experiment eliminating that, but a lot of students felt more comfortable when there's this component available, at least outside of class. So now it's a win-win because I don't speak in English in class. I do all of this teaching outside of the class in English. And in class, it's just exactly like how I would want to have the class.
We have a problem with fast, or it's not the fast or not. I mean, everything is completely fast. And they don't give them the exact correspondence with the English ways to say those things, and or how to use their stuff, so you have to use it. Otherwise, they are lost. And they would make the same statements, and also this is the basic syntax. We have to use that and then working and see what they do that.
Taking that outside of class might be an option. For me, it really worked well because.
I know, so class, because then you have to grade. You know, I have like 16 students per class and 4 classes.
Yeah.
Anybody else have questions that they wanted to ask before? Just one final question, I guess, to wrap up, because we're closing in on time here, by 3:30. For just a general question for language instructors, or everyone's behalf, for a language instructor that hasn't had much experience working with AI, or maybe no experience using it, this question could be for either of you. Where would you recommend one to start? So where do they dip in their toes to? What would be maybe like the first step recommendation of starting to incorporate it practically into any of our classes?
In my personal experience, it came out of need. Nobody told me you should use AI, this is important, or I needed to create these materials, so I found them myself. I started using the AI audio recordings 3 years ago, so it wasn't even popular. So I think it's important to have a need to use it. If you have a textbook, everything works well, and students are happy, then it feels kind of forced to use this. But for less commonly taught languages, we don't have as many materials as Spanish would do. So we end up looking for these tools to create all of these materials. And also, if you're interested in, let's say, to teach grammar outside of class, then the institution should have some kind of maybe fellowship or something that they give you so that you can dedicate that time. Because doing this on top of your regular teaching is really tiring, exhausting. If the institution says, okay, we have this fellowship, if you are hoping to use a tool to do this thing or whatever you need to do, we'll give you some funding, some time, then people would be, I think, more motivated to explore.
I just have a little for me, because I think it all depends on your, as an instructor, you need to be familiar with all these. Otherwise, it's hard. So you need to first, explore with it, and then once you're comfortable with it, you can think ways of how to help students, because students are, their schedule are really tight. So how do you entice them or make them try to use that? So maybe start with something interesting, like I think picture is a good way. So because picture, visualize the thing is also enhancement for language learning. So using picture, start with let student experience. I encourage them to experience first. And if they feel comfortable, I'll cut some of the other exercises further so that they can use the time to more efficiently to explore at their will, right? So other exercise boring, so they have to finish to get the points. And so I negotiate with them, or if you don't do this, would you rather do that? And they say, okay, so that sounds more fun, so they will try to do that. So that's how we, cut this boring, fill in the blanks, complete sentence part, so they can explore with that to write out a sentence on their own, so explore more. I think that's probably the beginning.
Maybe I can add one more. I can add one more thing to this. Having events like conferences, workshops like this is very helpful as well, so that people come and they see what others are doing, and there's someone who tried and it worked. So thank you for organizing this. I think it's very helpful for everyone to learn from each other. Last year, some of my colleagues and I went to Princeton for an AI conference, and my colleagues weren't that interested at the time. After the conference, they really got interested and started experimenting with a few things. So having the opportunity to see other people and learning what they are doing is also very helpful.
Okay.